And now we're going to go through different types that a field can have. The default field type is text, so let's be original and call ours field. Left click on the field title, go into edit template. You can see text is over here. You can also use markdown in the text fields. For example, we can say that this is normal text and this will be our bold text. You can find more information on how to use Markdown on the internet, or maybe we'll do a tutorial on that one at some point in the future as well. We can use the template editor to change the type of a field we already have created. So let's go into type, text, and change this one to the next one, which is set. A set is basically just several fields grouped together that most likely have something in common. For example, we'll want this field to represent the appearance of our character, so we can change the name of the field to appearance and change the attributes of this set, which are basically just fields, to, let's say, hair. Oops. And voice. And since hair and voice are fields as well, we can go into hair, edit template, and do the same, change its type into set, have a set within a set, and change its field names into, let's say, length, and set the value to long, and go into edit template here and change it to, let's say, color, and change its value into red. The next field type is list, so we can create a new field. Let's say we'll call it notes. Hit enter, go into edit template, and change its type into a list. We can add a few items to the list. Let's say our first item will be called first, and our second item will be called third. We can now toggle the view parameter of the field between list and tags, and as you can see, the way it is represented changes. The next field type is table, so we can go ahead and create something like, let's say, memories. Go into edit template, type, table, and now we can add a few columns. Let's say our left one will be called good, and the right one will be called bad. And let's add another row, and the good memories will contain life. The bad ones will contain also life. The next field type is a map, so we can call this my map. Add another field, go into edit template, type, map, and we can now hit the plus, find a link to the map that we'd like to use. Let's say this one. And here you can see we have a map. We can zoom it with the mouse wheel. We can even do some neat things as right-clicking, putting here new location. Let's say this will be our capital for some reason. And here we can also add new location, and using the double brackets notation, we can even do such things as inputting the name of another entry we have in our application. Hit enter, and you can see we now have a link to the entry that we have here. And if we click it, this is where we arrive. And of course, we can also move it by dragging. And the next field type is items. So let's create a new field called my items. Enter, edit template, items. Now we can hit the plus to select several entries, which will be in our items list. And we can use this button over here to toggle how these items will be represented with quantity and names of the items. Very useful if you want to create a character and then representing something like their backpack. The next type of field is resource. So let's say we'll want to represent our character's health. Edit template, type, resource. We can set the minimum and maximum values here, also the default value. Then we can hit these arrows here, and then once we decide how much we want to add or subtract, we click the button in the middle, and as you can see, we have changed the current value of the resource field. The next field type is image, so let's go ahead and create a new, let's say, image field, edit template, type image. Let's take the same link we had from before, go into plus, enter the link, hit enter, and as you can see, we have the image. We can also click it to view it in full or zoom it out. The next one is a number, so we'll go to the bottom, hit new field. Let's say we'll call this one age, change its template type to a number, and we can now change this field over here, or we can enter a number from the keyboard. We can also set minimum and maximum values. Let's say we want our age to be a minimum of 0 and maximum of 100. So now if we try to make it -5, it will return to 0. If we try to make it 200, it will still be 100. The next field type is toggle, so we'll create a new field. Let's call it inspiration. Change its type into a toggle, and you can see we can now use this button here to toggle it on and off. And we can also change the view in the primary section to make it look different. The next field type is select. So we can create a new field. Let's call it a relative. Change its type to a select. And we can now use this function here to pick another entry that we have here. Let's say relative of our current character Bob would be Sherry. This is also handy for picking things like race or class for your character. If you have a character and then you have classes and other properties represented as entries in your application. And last but not least is the divider. We can go into a new field. Let's call it a div. Change its type into a divider. And now we can toggle the view as we did with the previous fields, which had those, from a line, as we can see here, to a diamond.